Welcome on down to Winds of Change, fellow dazzlers and new players alike. What is going on, everybody? More of my horrible singing. Razzle Joestar here, bringing you, finally, another episode. For those of you who came in late, I don't even know why you're coming in late at this point, because we're in a super spoiler territory. Literally, the second I load this game, you're gonna get slapped in the face with a big spoiler. So, I'm just warning you. If this is your first, Winds of Change video you somehow stumbled upon, or some jerk, linked this and didn't tell you it was a spoiler warning, I have both in the description, and there'll be a little thing that just popped up right there, or is already there, that will take you to the playlist, and you can go watch the first episode, unless you don't mind spoilers. So for those of you who came in late, last time, if you have not watched the Dance of Death, the Act 4 finale video, go watch it, because you will not believe me when I tell you that Pro and Ulric literally swindled the entire nation of Alarinthia. That was exciting. That was heartbreaking and exciting. I have never felt a greater roller coaster of emotions from a game than from that. Let me tell you what. Yeah, we went to the Colosseum battle. Ulric supposedly killed Pro, which means that since the champion fell, Vivian was the winner. And as we were about to leave, a hooded figure stepped out from behind a tree, and it turns out to be Pro. He faked his death, and Ulric was complicit in it. That's what they were all talking about the entire time, too, by the way. Throughout Alarinthia, Pro and Ulric are talking to each other. That's what they were doing. They were making a plan. And Sovy came by and surrendered to the rebellion, and I later allowed him to stay with us, but only after he gave us some pretty chilling information. Ulric turned out to be the first Grand Inquisitor. Well, not first, but he was one of the he was a Grand Inquisitor before Sovy, which makes sense because it seems like they know each other very well. And Pro was leaking information to the Triumvirate to try to see if he could get information on his parents. The last thing telling them was the location of the Rebel HQ. That's how they knew to attack us, on top of all the other vision that's going on. So now we are back in the mainland. We are back at Rebel HQ, and there are two tasks that we have ahead of us. We first have to find Howl's hidden HCH, which I heard is somewhere in Valenorth, and then Sovy also has a series of HCHs to find. Once we get those out of the way, we'll be on to the loyalty scenes, where hopefully we can gain the loyalty of our trusted comrades. Let us finally continue. Shall we? Oh, also, you'll notice I have some new decorations I added to the character profiles. Let's go. Alright, y'all ready for that spoiler? Here we go. I warned y'all this is gonna come. Well, I mean, I already said the spoiler. Sovy joins the rebellion, so his face is the heart-to-heart thing. Here we go. So, we got all these. So we can do the loyalty scenes for Valessa, Fortem, Pro, Ulric, and Domic, but we gotta find Sovy's heart-to-heart and Howl. By the way, all of these all have voices now too. So I forgot to mention that in the little intro spiel here. All of these have voices. All of Act 4 is voice acted as of this video, except for maybe a couple odd lines here and there, or some minor characters not getting their lines recorded. But I mean, yeah, let's roll. Okay, so let's. You know what? I think I remember, because Nico was talking to me about things. I think I remember Howl saying something about East Crown. So let's head over there. Look at the surrounding region. That little, I can tell that world map thing's going to be very handy. Here we go, East Crown. Oh, wouldn't you know? Let's do it. I look off into the distance, already shivering at the extreme cold. I wanted to visit home one more time before the end. That included the ever-mysterious East Crown. We never got to find out what was out there. I start to wonder if we ever will. Not that it's even important. it has nothing to do with our goal or our cause. It's just a mystery, one of many left unsolved. Howl approaches me from behind and looks into Eastcrown. He seems perplexed, like not even he really knows what's over there. It makes sense. I doubt the old monarchy had the ability to survive the cold.
We know this place.
You do? He holds out his hand, feeling the harsh winds.
The fatal cold, death within an hour. No chance of survival. Not like Alarinthia's deserts. We let criminals handle their own end. A mercy. Because of this, it became a very mysterious place. We started to wonder what was out there, if anything. However, until now, we had no way of finding out.
So I guess none of the potential futures ever involved seeing what was in Eastcrown. Until now?
This cold, we feel nothing. It wouldn't harm us to venture forward. Perhaps now is the time to solve this mystery. How fitting that we would be the first. A monument to death. An execution ground. Monarch, we would like to take a brief break.
How does he know for sure that he can survive? He may not feel anything, but the body could still freeze.
Unlikely. We would be shielded by our spirits. They may die, one by one, but we would endure. At the end of it, we would remain largely unchanged. Besides, we were not asking for permission. Do you not share the same curiosity as us?
I do. It's something I've always wanted to know.
We thought so, too. Something about great minds. Perhaps there will be nothing, or perhaps not. It is something we will never know until we try.
He takes a few steps forward and looks down at the ground.
Already, we can feel our power dwindling. The spirits inside come forth to keep us warm. We will hurry and return with minimal damage.
He starts walking away, powered by his curiosity. I guess he couldn't resist solving a mystery of the world. I don't blame him. He was also uniquely qualified to do so. Just like how I'm the heir to the throne, I'm the only one. I guess he's just embracing his calling, much like I did. But Eastcrown? Would there even be anything there? I think there's something important. There must be something important inside Eastcrown. It was too mysterious. There had to be something there. And now we'd finally find that out. It's rather exciting. I hold those thoughts in my mind until Howl returns. He shows no sign of wear and walks as strong as ever. It's hard to get a read on his face. There's no emotion on display.
We don't understand. For a while, there was nothing. But then, we saw something interesting.
I ask him to elaborate, my curiosity taking control.
Eastcrown is ice. There's no water anywhere. It doesn't make any sense. We saw a ship, crashed, broken, frozen among the ice.
What?
A ship, sailing in ice. This is backwards. But we think that perhaps this is okay. Backwards, just like our thoughts.
Now he's lost me.
The future, or perhaps the past. This new outlook changes almost everything. Do not worry, Monarch. We were harmed in no way. As we said, spirits inside kept us warm. A self-sacrifice that helped us brave the cold. A noble end. We are lesser now, but only slightly, and it is an interesting feeling. What we saw in Eastcrown is of no real importance. However, it has conjured up a spark in our minds. A spark that we must discuss promptly in Mazio. There are some final matters to take care of before the end. Thanks for coming here, Monarch. If anything, it benefits us. I'm sorry if this wasn't what you expected, but that's not always a bad thing.
I know it, as long as he found some sort of benefit in this little trip. Before our final battle, everyone needed to be committed to the cause. One error, one slip-up could cost us all our lives. We had to be resolute. But I wonder what he could want to talk about so suddenly. The future? Thinking backwards? Something was definitely bothering him. I'd have to do my duty as his leader to quell any worry before we launch our attack. Howl's loyalty scene is now available at the war table in Mazio. Click his icon in order to access this scene and earn his loyalty. I still think it's funny you can come back to like these earlier places and like trigger the trigger the same scenes. Valessa and Fortum are huddled beside the torch. What is it? There's a trope name for that. Like Welcome to Canaria, I think is what it's called.
Hey, move it, Valessa. You're hogging all the
Where like it gets its name from Final Fantasy because there's characters in the first game where if you go back to starting town, the characters say the same thing. Welcome to Canaria. Or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly. So Sovy's Heart to Hearts are somewhere around here too. Well, hidden in the game world, but let me see. Let's just retrace our steps. Let's start with our house. Ah, my good old house. And that annoying tree that always blocks my vision. Alright, Main Street. Nope. Oh, hey, there's a conversation I missed.
Hey, Fortum. Remember those apples you used to love?
Yeah, how could I forget? You can't get them anymore, though. The Triumvirate put a trading ban on Mazeo.
Remember that time I tricked you? I painted a bunch of rocks red and put them in a basket. I told you the trading ban was lifted. You were ecstatic.
Yeah, and that was really mean. My parents used to give them to me before, you know. That made me cry more than you'd think.
Yeah, and I just wanted to apologize. This whole ordeal has me thinking about the past. I wish I spent my time in Valinor a bit better.
Oh, well, I accept your apology. Better late than never, right?
Yeah, of course. Once we get to Mazeo, I'll buy you some for real. An apology is lame. I'm gonna make up for what I did.
Wow, Leslie, you're a jerk. Or at least younger you. Alright, let's go to... Well, we just were on Main Street, so let's go to Town Square. Aha, look what I found. Sovy, Heart to Heart 1, yes. I look at the water tank, thinking of the vision that started this all. Back then, I thought we could use the water to fight the flames. Little did I know, that entire vision was just to trick the betas. We got played like a damn fiddle. However, that was the first time I ever laid eyes on Sovy. I'll never forget what he did to me. He killed me without hesitation. Was he different now, or was he ever really like that to begin with?
So, this is Valinor. I've heard stories, but never been. Well, unless you count that vision the Triumvirate tricked you with. I must apologize for that. I knew what was going on, and I played along. It's not like I could have done anything else. Valinor was too far away. That, and they still had me under their thrall. I was theirs to command. At least I was able to break free. I feel bad for Halen. I truly do.
He looks around the town square. It looks like he's enamored by Valinor, almost as if he's looking at a wonder of the world.
I need to ask, what did you think of me? The moment we met in that vision, who was I to you? A mindless slave? A killer? Or perhaps a man who was lost?
Oh my goodness. I couldn't actually get over how... no. It was a fake vision, so it really doesn't matter.
I guess you're right. But the Triumvirate made that vision. I know they did it to trick you, but I was still a part of it. How they portrayed me would be how they saw me.
He shakes his head and looks around the town some more. His eyes become fixated on the post office, and he smiles slightly.
A post office? I haven't seen one of those in ages. I couldn't travel much when I was younger, so I collected stamps. The drawings of places around Alestia. That was the closest I ever got.
He walks towards it, so I make sure to follow him. This is the first time he's ever mentioned anything about his past. Yeah, really. I mean, we haven't really had much time to chit-chat with the guy, so, you know. It's hard to imagine that he was anything other than the Grand Inquisitor.
but the art never really matches up with the place when you see it in person. I remember collecting the Balteus set and being shocked when I actually got there. It's not really a good or a bad difference, it's just interesting to see how they compare.
Well, why couldn't you travel much when you were younger?
That's not really something I'd like to talk about right now. Do you mind if I go inside and buy some really quick? It won't take too long, I promise. Just wait for me.
I nod, and he smiles at me. He runs into the post office and buys some stamps. A look of childlike glee is worn on his face when he returns.
Thank you, Monarch. You know what it's like. Sometimes you just need to do something. This is the first time I've truly been free, so I almost couldn't resist. I'll save these, and perhaps we can write each other after the war. You'll be incredibly busy, so I can't expect to earn a lot of your time.
But I need a sorcerer's knight. Well, I mean... meh. I don't know where I was going with that. I just wanted to make a reference to Final Fantasy VIII. You can have as much as my time as you want, Sovy. That sounds great.
Perfect. We'll figure something out when the time comes. For now, I think we have to focus on more important things.
He looks at the blade on my back and assumes a thinking pose.
You could use some training, couldn't you? Anything to give you an edge in the upcoming battle. I have years of practice, so I can teach you almost everything.
Almost everything?
We shouldn't stay here too long, though. Schedules and all that. If we start training while we travel, it'll be more efficient in the end. We can't waste too much time before setting sail for Balteus.
I know, it's true. He could teach me about this blade. I feel like I'd be needing that knowledge in the coming days. Perhaps having him join us wasn't a bad idea after all.
Wonderful. Normally, I'd call you an apprentice at this point, but I'm past that. I need to drop the behavior that the Triumvirate taught me. So, you're not an apprentice to me. You're a friend, and I'll help you.
Alright, everybody, say it with me now on 3. 1, 2, 3. Aww. We start walking away from the town square, and he inspects his stamps. It was crazy how different he seems now from how he was before. I'm taken aback. But if this was a new him, not some sort of facade, he'd be welcome. Alright, so... I wonder if there's anything at the Grand Tree. Nope. I don't think there'd be anything at Midas' house either. So, like, if we're coming back here after, like, everybody left, does that mean, like, the village is empty? Like... Oh, hey, look at this. So it looks like I do need to kind of retrace the steps. Let's go. As I wander the town square of Mazeo, I notice Sovy checking out the market stalls. He seems completely engrossed by everything, like he finally has time to stop and look. It makes sense. Until now, it's likely that he was always on a mission for the Triumvirate. After exploring the markets for a while, he approaches me. It doesn't look like he bought anything, he was just looking around.
So many useless items. People actually buy these things.
Yeah.
Back in Balteus, I got used to having the bare minimum. Anything more than that is a pointless luxury. A waste.
Oh, you really hate this in contemporary society, Sovy.
Yet, I must say, some of it does have a certain appeal. There were some very unique writing utensils. I might look into them. Not that I fancy myself a writer or anything. They just caught my eye.
Sure. He points to the nearby alleyway and tilts his head towards it.
Would you follow me into that alley, Monarch? I think we need to get away from all of these people.
What is up with Mazeo in these alleyways? Oh, hello in the alley. Whatever. Wow. Already? I didn't think you were that into me. Let's just get going.
It won't take too long, I promise. I just remembered what we talked about before. There's a trick or two I can teach you with that blade.
Without saying another word, he walks to the back alley. I follow after him, ready to learn more about the Blade of Exodus. When we arrive, I start to ask him questions, mainly about its origin.
I couldn't tell you. It's a mystery, even to me. Perhaps they stole it from the monarchy before they took over. I've heard that they had visions too, much like the blade can supply. If that's not the truth, then perhaps they made it themselves. But I'm starting to think they either stole it or stumbled upon it. Stealing isn't above them, as we've all been made aware of.
Perhaps the Triumvirate is really just a trio of raccoons. He shakes his head as if he's upset that he can't sate my curiosity. But that's fine, perhaps it's something we'd find out when we went to Balteus.
This is probably the first trick I should teach you.
He holds out a closed fist, and my blade appears in his hand. I've seen that happen several times, almost like he can summon it at any time.
You have to be near the blade for it to work, but it's useful. Disarming your enemy is a viable tactic in battle, so be ready. They will try to take the blade away from you because of its power.
Because of its power.
Go ahead. Hold out your hand and reach for the blade. Not with your body, but with your mind. See if it works.
I close my eyes and hold out my hand. Sovy immediately chastises me with the blunt side of the blade. Hitting it against my hand, I wince slightly and shake away the pain.
No. Never close your eyes in battle. Did you not learn anything about combat in Valinor? If you did that in a real battle, you'd be dead in mere seconds.
No, Valinor is a peaceful nation, my dude. I shrug.
Now do it again, and look me in the eye. I have no use for you if you can't follow directions.
Well then. Doing as instructed, I look him in the eye. I focus as hard as I can and try to summon the blade, but after a few moments, nothing happens. Nothing at all.
Try harder, like your life depends on it. Because when you need to do this, it will.
His eyes still do that creepy red glow thing. He squints as if he's judging my movements, but after even more time, nothing happens. Oh.
I guess you need a little incentive.
Without any warning, he reaches behind himself. Pulling out a dagger from the leather straps on his back, he attacks me. I take a defensive stance, and before he can harm me, I have now held possession of the blade. It appears in my hand, at the perfect angle and position to deflect Sovy's assault. His dagger is in deadlock with my blade, and he pushes me back against the alley wall.
So, it's your fear that powers you.
The fear of losing the ones that I love. He's trying to do Christian Bale Batman, but after a few moments, he backs off and puts away the dagger.
I was the same, until I mastered my fears. Then the blade responded to my willpower, my resolve. It can learn and grow just as much as you can, Monarch.
My boy, let me tell you about Resolve. Resolve can help you survive getting karate chopped almost in half. There's this guy with a lot of zippers, I know.
If you learn to remain calm in the face of battle, you'll do fine. Without fear to rely on, the blade will find something else. What that is, however, is different from person to person.
I see.
I'm eager to see what kind of person you become. For now, let's continue on our way. No more wasting time. When we have another moment together, I can teach you more.
Alright. He smiles and leaves the alleyway. I remain there by myself. It was hard not to be scared given my situation and the upcoming battle. But if mastering those emotions made me a better wielder, then I had to try. I leave the alleyway and replay the recent events in my mind. My eye trails over to the drawing utensil Sovy pointed out earlier. I wonder for a moment if I could get him a gift. Thank you for the lessons. But is that a good idea? Yeah, sure, why not? It seems harmless, so I stop and buy them on my way out of the town square. I'd have to find the right chance to give them to him. It might take a while. But after that was said and done, it was time to get on my way. Alright, let's find the next... The Dax? Nope. You just were at the town square tavern. Nope, didn't think so, but... Hey, you know what? I wonder if, like, Grizz is actually here. Aside from, like, any pre-recordeds. Nope. Yeah, well. No, that just leads to church. Nope. What about inside the... What's this? Oh, that's a bridge we used to come here. Huh. Little details you just, like, notice suddenly. Anyways, let's go inside. Nothing still. Okay, what about... main entrance? Ah, here we go. Heart to Heart 3. I walk through the main atrium of the Rebel HQ. It's not fully clean. Blood still stains the floor, armor is scattered about. I'm not sure what they plan to do with all the pieces of the honor guard. Sovy's looking around and he appears sad. I don't blame him. This is where he launched his attack. Him and his men killed almost all of us. We almost lost that day.
I already had my doubt when we launched this attack. If only we had our fight a little bit earlier. I could have prevented this. Touching that blade at the same time as you, that was the catalyst. I don't think you knew the truth of the monarchy at that point. It's almost as if they were calling out to me, trying to change my stance. Well, I suppose it worked. I stand here, ready to repay you for my sins.
Yeah, we were too late, you son of a bitch. Yeah, that's why I knew they were fucking doing that shit. I knew they were doing that shit. Fucking resume gathering, so they can call us back whenever they feel like it. Goddamn, I can't fucking... Anyways, can't get angry now. His words seemed so genuine, it's almost hard to think he could be lying. At first he seemed unsure about whether or not he'd rejoin the Triumvirate. What started out as a revenge quest against Halen has certainly grown quickly.
But we mustn't waste time on talk like that. Focusing on the past stops you from seeing the future. That's what is truly important. Your assault on Balteus.
I agree. Sovy doesn't seem like one to waste time with pleasantries.
So, I guess I'll be teaching you 2 lessons this time. First of all, focus on the war. Don't waste time with being friendly. I've seen you and your comrades. That bond is dangerous during battle.
You don't understand the power of friendship.
We can't have you taking a sword for a loved one. You are this world's future, Monarch. You need to be smart. Feelings? They cloud judgment. I know this all too well, and so should you. And in your situation, it is best to rely on things that serve you without hesitation. A friend with emotional stakes may not follow every order. That is a major flaw. Their blade, however, and the beings it can create, will cater to your desire.
Is that so? He points to the suits of armor scattered around the floor. That means the next lesson must be related to the honor guard. The Triumvirate could create a near infinite amount. Could I do that too?
Normally, the blade requires a sacrifice and the energy within to power that armor. but there is so much energy within you. I wonder if you could do it by yourself. Imagine an entire force of honor god soldiers serving you. Such power.
But you have the power to let that power go.
The Triumvirate is right to want that blade back. In your hands, it is a threat. And it makes sense why they'd want you dead, too. You are the monarchy. Take out that blade for me, Monarch. Let's see if you can do what I think you can.
I do as instructed and take out the blade.
It responds to your will, your desire. Think of it as an extension of your body. A new muscle, ready to be trained. Hold it out toward those scattered pieces of armor. See if your resolve is strong enough to give them life. That's all it takes. A spark in your mind to ignite a flame.
See, there's that word again, resolve. Let me tell you about this guy, Giovanna. I hold out the blade, pointing it towards the suits of armor. I keep my eyes focused on them, trying to control them. The pieces start to move, rocking back and forth. I focus with all of my strength, and they start to shake more. But as Sovy mentioned, it's like a new muscle. I can't flex it for long. The pieces stop shaking and remain still, just as soon as they began to move.
Disappointing.
I scoff at him and assume a neutral stance.
It seems as if you can only use the blade while under duress. I suppose that's not too bad. We'll be in Balteus soon enough, after all. At least now you know what to do. Follow my directions and you'll be fine.
He starts to walk away, but quickly turns around.
There won't be enough time for you to master your fears. You might have to embrace these dangerous situations in order to prevail. But that blade is so powerful. I'd do whatever it takes to harness that power. I'll see you around, Monarch. Feel free to keep practicing if you feel the need. This is going better than I expected, to say the least.
All right. This time he dismisses himself for real. Embrace the danger to become more powerful. That seemed like backwards logic, but a lot of things were backwards lately. If the blade responded to my fear and danger, I guess I knew what to do. Because Sovy was right, I could never retrain myself in time for our final attack. What an odd situation to be in. But I guess in my position, I couldn't eschew risk. His implication was that, if I were in danger, the suits of armor would have risen up. When the time comes, I can only hope that his prediction is correct. I wonder what other lessons there are to learn. What else could the blade do? Perhaps I'll learn more from Sovy the next time we meet, wherever that ended up being. His advice keeps playing on repeat in my mind. Emotional stakes could be a hindrance in battle. Would I truly let something like that endanger our cause? Would I sacrifice myself to save a comrade? Or in this case, I guess it works the other way around. I close my eyes and pray that we never have to find out. Alright, let's see. I got $20 on my personal quarters. Hey! I sat on my bed thinking about the blade and what I could do with it, as if some sort of cue I hear a knock on my door. Sovy enters. He seems much more relaxed than normal, like he's comfortable.
So, did you manage to get any more practice in? Or were you just going to improvise when we got to Balteus? Both are good options given the circumstances. I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, like, literally only 2 minutes passed, but I guess I got a lot of practice in.
That's good. The more the better, that's what I say. But at the same time, you're limited. I trained my entire life. If you only have a few days, don't expect anything substantial.
He takes a few steps forward and sits beside me on the bed.
Being down here has made my mind race almost non-stop. I mean, what I did to you and your family is unforgivable. Yet here we are, trying to move past it. Letting me atone. The most important thing on my mind is why? Why did you welcome me with open arms after what I did? I feel like anybody with common sense would have put me to the blade.
Common sense isn't one of my strong suits. I wanted the bond to become closer. Ooh. Could tell that you were being genuine.
I'm assuming you were the only one. The look I got from your comrades was definitely condemning. But then what makes you different? Why could you tell?
I'm psychic. It's the eyes, they never lie.
Well, that's all I really wanted to talk about. If you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. Good luck with everything, Monarch.
He gets up and starts to walk away, but I stop him. This would be a good time to get him the gift I bought. Give him the gift I bought, I guess. I grab the writing utensils and hand them over to Sovy.
You got me a gift? Really? You shouldn't have.
He inspects them with a soft smile on his face.
I was looking at these in the town square. It means a lot to me that you did this, Monarch. Anybody else would have just went on with their day.
Maybe, but I'm not just anybody else.
I don't really know what to say. So I guess I'll take that as a sign to stop talking. Thank you for thinking of me as a friend. Truly. That's more than I can say about everybody else I know. In fact, I don't think I've ever gotten a gift before. From anybody. Not even my father, who these pens reminded me of in the first place.
He scoffs and looks down at them once more.
But that's a story for another time. I'm here to help you, not bore you with sad tales. Perhaps we can talk more before we set sail.
Without another word, he leaves my room for good. I'm not sure if the choice of present was a good or bad thing now. It seems to remind him of something he deemed a sad tale. Oops. Well, there's nothing I could do about that right now. Maybe he'd tell me that tale the next time we spoke. With our final battle looming, I might not have much time. Or would we? But there's one thing I can say for sure. Sovy is becoming a friend. In such a quick amount of time, too. Wow. A second chance is a truly great thing. I can tell that if I earned his loyalty, it'd be indispensable during our attack. Sovy's loyalty scene has been unlocked and awaits at the war table. Oh boy. Yo, I think somebody in Wisconsin tried to call me. What? Where are people getting my numbers from? Where are people giving me... I mean, getting my number from? Oof. Oof, oof. These notifications of growing bonds between our comrades. Alright, so now we've got our... except he doesn't get... You don't get anything, Sovy. To hell with thee. Alright, so... let's, figure it out. Not figure it out, but I mean, let's get these loyalty scenes out of the way, shall we? Yes. Valessa leads me through Museo to some sort of hidden cove area. There's a large ship, and it looks like some sort of dock, with no signs of life. Stashes of treasure lay about, and it's apparent this place has been abandoned.
After we returned, I got talking to the pirates. You know, to pick up any information on our parents. It turns out, this is their base of operations. Their HQ. Kind of funny, isn't it? We both ended up having HQs in Museo. But, to be honest, that's where I'd like the similarities to end. The more I learn about them, the more I hate them.
Oh, yeah?
They kept running off to Museo and left us in Saelus's hands. Now that I think about it, he raised us more than they ever did. I guess they were more interested in this life of piracy. It's awful.
She looks around the cove, taking in the environment.
I wanted to come here with you to face the truth. Our parents were bad people. There's no denying it. They wanted this to be their legacy, rather than us.
She starts to walk around the area, and I follow behind her.
Look at all this junk they valued more than us. Weapons, money, more money, and lame scrolls. Maps to some far-off treasure and riches, I'm sure.
We could use that money. You just threw it into the water?
Sorry for going off like that. It just makes me really angry. We idolized them for so long, thinking the world lost good people. But to realize that maybe the world is better off without them? It's hard. Anyway, thanks for coming along with me. I just thought it would be good to do this together. I don't know how Fortin would handle it, if I'm honest.
They faded out the music again. She turns to face me with a hint of a smile on her face.
You know, I realized I'm different from all of these rebels. They've been living oppressed in the shadow of the Triumvirate. But it was never the Triumvirate that held me back. It was always myself.
Now you're learning the real big lessons.
I wanted to be a person who can make my parents proud. I wanted to do what society demanded of me. I wanted to be perfect. But this is a real wake-up call. Nobody is perfect. We're all flawed at heart.
No, if you talk to Twitter.
To realize that and embrace it, I think that's all I needed to do. I feel like now I can be who I want, and not who other people want me to be. It feels like such a small thing, but a different perspective can change a lot, you know?
I nod.
Well then, wanna take a look around? If we can find anything to help us in Balteus, then it's not a total loss. I'm sure there's something around here that we can take along with us.
Do you not see all, like, the weapons and stuff around you? She starts rummaging through various crates and sacks. I did the same as her, but find nothing of note except money. I could help after the war, but right now we needed something more.
Hey, look what I found.
She pulls out a pair of daggers and starts inspecting them. Didn't she use daggers in the opening vision?
I think I remember these. Back when I was a kid, I swear I saw them. That means they must have belonged to my parents. Or my mother, to be exact. Just an intuition, so I can't say for sure. But I'd be willing to bet that my hunch is correct. Did you find anything good, Monarch?
Nope. I found nothing.
What do you say? Should I keep them? Might come in handy when we attack Balteus.
Especially because you've made no reference to that bow and arrow you have on your back. Well, that's a good question, actually. She came here to move on from her parents. Taking their stuff could be just a constant reminder. On the other hand, maybe she could make them her own. It was hard to tell whether or not this would help her or hinder her in the future. With our final battle almost upon us, I'm afraid I couldn't afford a mistake. You should keep them and make them your own.
Make them my own, huh? I think I like the sound of that.
She puts the daggers in the leather straps on her back. Returning with a smile, seems like she's ready to head home.
Well, I guess now I need to focus on the important stuff. What kind of person do I want to be after this war is over? I'm no longer held back by anything, so I guess my dreams are the limit.
She takes a deep breath of relief, as if a massive weight has now gone. I totally understand this was a big deal for her and for me as well.
Should we head back then?
Oof.
I guess you have other things to tend to. Truth be told, I needed this. Thank you.
So it seems like we can either make or break our comrades' loyalties. With that, we're on our way out of the cove. She faced her past in that moment and came out ever stronger. I have no doubt that she'd continue to grow into an amazing woman. Before I leave for good, I turn back and look around once more. This is where our parents conducted most of their business. This means this is the closest I've been to them in decades. Goodbye, Kyrian. Farewell, Sophie. If you don't get that, you need to go watch Arcade Appreciation episode number 2. Or the HD re-upload. Well, it's not really a re-upload, it's a replay, but... If you Howl's Lucy scene, sure, why not? I'm in the mood to get just janked around by this guy. Howl enters my quarters carrying an aura of purpose with him. After East Crown, I know that something big has been on his mind. We're so close to the final battle, it's probably time for us to talk.
Monarch, we must speak with you. It's about our upcoming attack on Balteus. At least we think it is. Things have become complicated.
More than they already have been?
We may be walking into a trap. This may be all part of the Triumvirate's plan.
What plan?
Take their blade, feed it power, and then bring it back. This may be what they've wanted all along. We've seen it. Everything we've done has only made their weapon stronger.
This isn't Major Minor.
They let us steal their blade. They wanted it to happen. They knew we'd bring it here, feed it death, and tap into the idol. But not only that, we're bringing it right back to them, stronger than ever. You may think we are wrong, that this is just a foolish theory, but we must only look into the visions to realize the truth. That, combined with some of your actions, like clockwork.
What do you mean?
It's almost like sometimes you have no other choice. You say or do things that pushes down a certain path, but more often than not, that path leads us to death. How convenient, then, that the blade feeds off of death. In your hands, it has gotten more powerful than ever before. But what force, what invisible hand, guides us down this path?
Do you mean to say that we are all sleeping slaves of fate?
It's quite simple, but we were always looking at it the wrong way. Venturing into East Crown and seeing that ship made us realize that, when we approached things from a different angle, it all made sense.
Alright, start making sense.
We've been struggling with visions of these different pasts. They seem to come out of nowhere and complicate things. Until recently, we only had to process visions of the future.
He crosses his arms.
At least, that's what we thought.
I take a step forward, interested to see where he's going with this.
But now we realize we've never seen the future at all. It's impossible to see what has not yet been written, but it is easy to see what has already happened.
Now he's lost me.
These visions of different pasts aren't as out of place as we thought. You were told you had visions of the future, and chose to believe that fact. But they are not visions of the future. They, too, are simply different pasts.
What?
The key to all of this is the Blade of Exodus. It's a constant in every vision, but the power within it varies, even when it shouldn't. There are inconsistencies. Even if we have a vision of the same situation, the power inside the blade is different. The Triumvirate has some sort of dominion over time. That much is clear. They possess the ability to grant their subjects eternal life, like Ulric and Sovy. We need to operate under the assumption that this ability can be used in other ways.
He eyes the blade on my back.
Mainly, in a way that could be used to strengthen the Blade of Exodus. They could create a cycle full of death and despair that we are unable to break. When the cycle reaches an end, they could revert time and gather that power all over again.
Wait. You mean... Alright, so I cracked a reference to Major Minor earlier, and I'm going to throw up a spoiler warning for that game right now. I know, yes, you should have already played Major Minor, but I don't want to spoil that. I mean, anyways. Spoiler warning, and here we go. So, in Major Minor, recall how, Rayo has us trapped in or not trapped, but stuck in a loop. You know, we get to a certain point, Nagi would come, try to release the power, Rayo would gather the power, use it to reset time, and then return that power to us, at least I assume so. So, by going through all of these cycles over and over and over again, we just became more and more powerful until we had all the power we needed to do the thing that we were supposed to do, you know, unite all the worlds or whatever, with a big reset. So, that's pretty much what's going on here. It's just different, it seems like. So we haven't been seeing visions of the future. We've been seeing alternate timelines. Howl has been seeing alternate timelines. The Triumvirate has probably been seeing alternate timelines. Does that mean the opening vision was not some falsely created vision, but just an alternate timeline? That would... Think about this. Okay. Hold on, I gotta write something here real quick. I forgot to put 51. Anyways, okay, mind blown. Because, think about this, right? We just saw Valesa's loyalty scene, right? What does she get? A pair of daggers. What does Ulric mention Valesa has in the opening vision? Daggers. I remember that. I mean, I only played through that like a number of times. Valesa has her daggers. You need something else, you know. He hands you the sword. So, I mean, we don't know if those are the same daggers from Valesa's parents, but it's a safe assumption. So, but Sovy said he played along. Well, it could be a matter of... Because Sovy has the same power that I do, to be lucid during visions. So it could be safe to assume that they could have made him lucid during that vision as well, which could be why he asked, like, what did you think of me during that? And why he said I went along with it. So they probably were like, yeah, we're going to just induce a vision. You're going to be a part of it. You're going to be, you know, lucid during that. That makes sense. Lots of theory crafting that's going to be going on. Alright, let's keep going.
The visions of the future you thought you were having, they aren't what you thought. We believe they are visions of cycles in the past. Perhaps cycles where we have perished. Did your visions of the future involve your death in any way? Think about this, Monarch.
The opening vision did. Now that he mentions it, they did. I was stabbed by Sovy in the vision. That started all of this. And after touching the blade, my series of visions ended with me getting stabbed by Pro. I tell him these stories and he smirks. It seems I forgot about that. Nothing personal, just playing the hand I've been dealt.
Those were visions of past cycles, Monarch. Cycles where we failed. When we look at it like this, these different pasts make perfect sense. We've been looking at them all wrong, that is, until just recently. It seems that we retain some prior knowledge from these cycles. Perhaps that is why we act in certain ways, as if we have no options. In the back of our mind, we're pushing ourselves in the same direction.
Alright. So if you really want your mind blown, what is that? A cycle. A circle. That means that these are just things where you just go forward. They're not just neutral choices. They're not just some random... What? Alright. I'm gonna have to do a video about this.
We think the Triumvirate is manipulating time. They are doing this in order to make the blade even stronger. The occupation, the formation of the rebellion, and the attack in the tunnels. All of those casualties simply serve to give the blade more power. We have no doubt that many will perish when we assault Balteus as well. But when the time comes, they can simply make it happen all over again.
This is almost too much to comprehend.
It makes sense when you think about it. Especially with these tunnels. Those suits of armor knew exactly how to fortify this place for your army. They must have retained their knowledge and adapted each and every time. But only one question remains unanswered. Why? Why do they want to make this blade even stronger? What is their endgame? What do they desire?
That's a good question.
It is very possible that we are walking into a trap. That is, unless the blade has enough power to defeat them. Their plan, if it's as I expect, is a double-edged sword.
What do you mean?
An infinite cycle, created specifically to power the blade. There must be a cycle, a prime cycle, where we have the power to defeat them. A point where the blade is strong enough for us to win, but not yet strong enough for them. All we can do is hope that we've reached that cycle. The power in that blade is immense, but isn't enough. Hopefully you understand what we are trying to say.
So that would mean the cycle in Major Minor is... We're trapped in a time loop. Yup. You know what this means? Those of you who watch my Major Minor Let's Plays, it's time for more Bites of the Dust references. If you don't watch JoJo, a very, very, very condensed version of a condensed explanation is Bites of Dust is an ability that lets its owner create time loops. There's a guy who's trying to not be found, and when somebody gets a vital clue, Bites of Dust activates and kills that person and rewinds time, and that person gets stuck in a time loop where they just keep dying over and over again. A loop that the Triumvirate fashioned in order to give the blade power? And not only that, but I never saw the future. I only saw failed past endeavors. It's hard to believe, but death has definitely followed me and my allies. If their goal is to defeat the blade with power, then they have certainly succeeded. But how far back does the cycle go? Could it reach as far back as the occupation? Wait a minute. Attack Museo, kill innocents, incite a rebellion, attack that rebellion, provoke them into attacking your home, and then destroy them. With what Howl said, it almost seems like we were likely walking into a trap. This can't be.
The reason we see these things is because of the energy within us. It makes us sensitive in a way that others are not. We are both special, but I don't think visions are the only benefit of this power. There is more. Perhaps you see a flash of events that are happening elsewhere. Perhaps you can relive a conversation that has already happened. These echoes of past cycles manifest themselves in many ways.
You mean to tell me that it wasn't just a welcome to Canario moment, that every time I go back to a past thing and I view it, I'm basically hallucinating those, and that I'm somehow able to see that we aren't, like, you know, time cutting whatever to what other people are up to. We're actually seeing that. We just don't remember it, or maybe we do. I gotta say, that's a pretty good way of describing why that stuff would happen. And like, I'm always entertained when, like, a game comes up with a way to kind of, like, explain its mechanics in the story. Like, if any of you played Carnival, the ending of the game, you know, he takes the coin, he puts it in, and starts it all over again. How else are you gonna explain why you can play the game immediately after you just beat it? So, points for that, you clever son of a gun, you.
But when we look at it this way, everything makes sense. Everything has an explanation, and nothing is left up in the air. The only question is, do you believe us? Do you think we are correct?
Yeah, what I've seen so far, it makes sense.
Good. We knew you would see the truth of things. This was an impossible matter to discuss with anybody else. We are special. And now we finally understand the reason why.
He turns to leave, but tilts its head back to address me one more time. I guess he wanted to leave, no stone unturned, before our attack on Balteus.
The Triumvirate is up to something. That much is clear. If it aligns with our theory, at least you will be able to act. Getting caught off guard would damage us beyond repair. That is not something we want our monarch to endure. Be prepared for anything, for the enemy will stop at nothing. If you can do this, then perhaps our victory will be more likely.
Perhaps. With that said, he sees himself out of my room. That all came out of nowhere, and I'm not sure how to react. But one thing was clear. There was so much we didn't know. But would we learn the truth in Balteus? Or would we even make it that far? I don't know. I start to feel uneasy, even with all this new knowledge. Could we really have been fundamentally wrong about everything? Periods. We're so wrong that the grammar isn't even right. As I go about my business, it's impossible to shake a thought out of my head. Okay. So that's 2 loyalties that we've earned. That leaves 5 more. Let's see what Homeboy is up to. Fordham takes me back to Valinor, and we look at the Grand Tree. It makes sense that he'd want to accomplish this lifelong dream of his before the final battle. With those metallic claws he'd found on Moseo, I think he'd finally achieve what he wanted. Of course, he wanted me to achieve it with him. I'm grateful that he chose me, but I'm also a little worried. Is this really something I could pull off, even with those tools?
Well, I guess this is it. I can't leave for Balteus with any regrets. So I'm finally going to do it. I'll climb the Grand Tree. And with someone like you, no less. Think they'll talk about this in the history books? I mean, I don't think anybody else has done this before.
Bro, that was me when I was deciding on trying to do my 1-credit run of Carnival.
Here, you need to put these on like gloves. There's another pair that goes on your feet as well. After that, we just climb. We don't need to find footholds.
This is like cheating.
Being able to create them ourselves? Now that's a good invention. I gotta give credit where credit is due. The Zayans know what they're doing. Don't tell anybody, though. These might very well be under the trade ban.
What's that? Where is that, what's that meme that started going around recently? There you go. You cheated not only the game, but yourself. You didn't grow, you didn't improve. You took a shortcut and gained nothing. You experienced the hollow victory. Nothing was risked and nothing was gained. It's sad that you don't know the difference. I saw that pop up on my Twitter timeline. Apparently there's a games journalist who talked about how they had to use cheats to beat like some difficult game that recently came out. And he tweeted that as a response, and now it's a meme. He gives me a quick wink. That's alright though, I won't tell anybody.
It looks way taller than I remember. I'd try to give you some advice, but I don't have any. With those tools, this should be pretty easy. At least, I hope.
We'll see.
Just don't fall, Monarch. I don't know if you could survive something like that. I've fallen from way shorter trees and been in pain for months.
Well, thanks for that, comforting talk.
Well then, got everything ready? Let's find a good starting point and do this.
Yeah.
And don't forget that there's a kiss on the line, so let's consider this a race. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. He enters a stance that implies he's ready to begin. I nod to let him know that I'm ready, and assume the same stance. We make our way to the base of the Grand Tree, and I'll look up. This is the first time I realize how tall it actually is. Would he really be able to make it to the top? A doubt wells within me, but I don't voice it.
I bet I'll be the first one there.
Oh yeah? With that said, he digs his claws into the tree and starts to climb. I watch him for a few moments before replacing his actions to a T. After a few minutes of doing this, we're extremely far from the surface.
Scared of heights? Make sure not to look down. I, for one, love the view. This is part of why I do it. Hey, no fair! I was taking a breather. Didn't think you'd be the type to play dirty.
He laughs as we scale the tree at almost the same rate. We can't imagine doing this without the claw-like tools. In fact, we make this pretty easy. There's no risk of falling. It allows me to take a step back and admire Fortem's skill. It's climbing trees for his entire life without this kind of aid. I suddenly appreciate his every stumble and fall, his every bruise. As we get higher and higher, we start to get enveloped in a canopy of leaves. We aren't quite high enough that they become red, but it's still an impressive sight. It blocks us from seeing the village below us, but it's beautiful to look at regardless. It really helps solidify just where we are. We're scaling the Grand Tree. Nobody has done this before, and it's been his dream for decades now. However, due to his challenge, the competitive spirit starts appearing within me. At the rate we're going, I could very well beat him to the top. In fact, if it was a race, that'd pretty much be the point. But this was still his dream, and he might deserve the moment. As we near the top, what should we do? Hey, was somebody playing my files again? I mean... I don't don't know. Beat him to the top. What happens if we let him win? I decided to intentionally throw my progress. Fortum deserves a win. I feel like it's only fair. As we get higher, we reach the bloodleaves on high. When we reach the final stretch, I fake a small stumble. Nothing to put myself in danger, just enough to cause a slight delay. If the Fortum has gotten far enough up, I decide to get myself back on track. It's not much longer before we reach the top, but he's clearly victorious. He laughs as he sits on a massive branch big enough to support both our weight. I follow him up there and sit beside him, taking a huge sigh of relief. We did it!
I can't believe we did it, Monarch! And of course, I had a feeling that I'd win. Never think you can rise above the master.
Alright, I'm just gonna say, it'd be nice if there was, like, another scene that we get where it's, like, you know, above, like, on top of the Grand Tree. That'd be cool. Just, you know, for future updates. DLC packages, maybe. He smiles and inches a bit closer towards me as we sit on the branch.
Look at that view. I know we can't see the village, but these leaves? I never thought I'd get to see them up close like this before. I've only ever seen them when they wilt and fall off. But being up here and seeing them fresh? Wow. I wish I could take some with me, but I know I can't.
Poppycock. He runs his hands through some of the blood leaves, clearly in awe.
You know, this doesn't feel like I thought it would. I thought it'd feel amazing, like I'd become a different person. But I feel just like I did before. I guess that's how things go, huh?
Yep.
Oh well, at least that's one more thing I can cross off my list. A bit anticlimactic, but I don't really know what I was expecting. Maybe it's like Eastcrown, just the allure of the unreachable.
Perhaps. He inches a bit closer to me and rests his head on my shoulder. I can't see his face, but I can just tell that he's wearing the widest smile.
You know, this is a bit different than that back alley in Mazeo. I'm glad that we have more privacy, now we could do this together. When we first left Valinor, I had no idea we'd become this close to each other.
And neither did me.
Not that it's an unwelcome change. Trust me, I always thought about this. But back then, a scribe in training dating someone like you was frowned upon. Look how much has changed. The entire world is nothing like we thought it was. You know, I used to come to this tree and listen for the spirits. I thought that if I listened closely, they might talk to me, you know? But they didn't. And now I know what that silence truly meant. All of us were held back by the Triumvirate. But now we're strong, and unified in purpose. I know that together, there's nothing we can't do.
Together.
And it's all the more special because I have you by my side.
Aww.
You're the man that I love, and there's nothing that can change that. I'm following you to the ends of the world, to the highest reaches of the skies. And I'll have your hand the entire time.
He slowly reaches down on my hand and intertwines his fingers with mine. Then he brings my hand up to his face and gives the top a soft kiss. Aww.
I wish this moment could last forever. But that would be selfish of me. We have stuff to do. Thankfully, we'll always have this memory. It's perfect.
And with my power, I can relive it as much as I want. He looks around the area one last time, admiring a view he may never see again.
Well, should we get back down to the surface? I don't want to waste much time up here. We're busy and all that. It means a lot to me that we could share this moment. I'll never forget it.
With that, he starts to climb back down. I follow after him and make our way to the surface. It feels weird to be down here after being so high up.
So, what's next on the agenda? You know what? Never mind. You do you. I'll be around if you need me for any reason at all.
Ooh, okay, I was kind of nervous there for a second because nothing was popping up. He walks away with a big smile on his face. I guess a dream of his came true on that day. I got the Balteus. He'd have no regrets. Okay. Yeah. Let's go with Homeboy here. Well, not Homeboy. I forgot what names it was. Because I know Fortum was Homeboy. I forgot what this guy is, so. Dominic leads me to the house grove of Mazeo. Because of our recent conversations, I know what's going on. He's taking me to the spot where he lost his mother during the occupation. It must be hard on him. I can see him shaking as we walk through the town. But facing his painful memory helped him move on. It was my duty to assist him. In the coming storm, he needed to be resolute. Helping him would help all of us.
I can't thank you enough for coming with me, Monarch. There's not many people I trust this much. I'm really glad I have you. Until today, I've only had dreams about doing this. But now, I'm strong enough.
That's what they all say.
And honestly, it's all because of you. I give a little credit to my near-death experience, but not all of it. You've grown into a capable leader and led us all down the right path.
My dude, you didn't have a near-death experience. You experienced the whole thing. He smiles, and I smile back at him. It was nice to receive some support after all we've been through. Being the monarch wasn't very easy, but it's a weight I had to carry. After a while, we end up at the large open area. I'm surprised they haven't built shops here.
This is where town meetings are held. They don't happen very often, but they need a big open space. There's a lot of people in Museo, so everyone deserves a chance to attend.
After that, however, his tone becomes more serious.
A lot of bodies in one place. That's just what they needed during the occupation. This is where it happened, Monarch. The stuff with my mother.
I nod at him as we take steps closer towards the center.
You may notice the crimson tint on the ground here. This is where they piled the bodies during the attack. So much blood. So much carnage. Permanently stained. Just like the memories in my head. As hard as I try, I can't just scrub those off either. Every other night I wake up in a cold sweat, crying. I feel the lingering touch of her hand against mine. Then, the moment she goes away, it makes me feel empty inside. There's nothing left to feel, except all those corpses pressed against me. A warmth that slowly dissipates, leaving me cold and alone. I had to stay under them until things died down. Almost a whole day. The moment I could, I got out and took her pendant along with me. It's all I have to remember her by, but perhaps that's why I can't let it go. How can you move on from something when you remind yourself of it every day? Just the thought, of course. But after all I've been through, at least it's a thought with merit.
He holds up his hand and shows me the pendant he's holding. I've seen it a few times now. He seems to carry it with him everywhere. Of course, as he suggested, that also means he carries the memory along as well.
Let's keep moving. I'll show you exactly where it happened. Just stay close to me, okay? This is hard.
The podium rests at the center, likely where they held these meetings from. Soon I picture what this place would look like during the occupation. I cringe. After a while, Dominic stops dead in his tracks and looks down at the ground. His body language and reaction tells me this is exactly where his trauma happened. I position myself right beside him and wait for him to speak. I couldn't rush him now.
Well, this is it.
He clutches the pendant close to his chest.
Would you sit with me, Monarch? We might be here for a while after all.
He sits down on the ground, attracting stares from a few passerbys. I join him, caring more for his well-being than the judgment of those around us. Looking down at the ground, he places the pendant down and moves it around slightly.
It was right here, I think. You never really forget, you know. I hope it's not weird to sit here with me.
No, not at all. I shake his head and let him do what he needs to do.
Coming here to face what happened. I needed to do this. But now I'm not sure what to do next. I mean, with the pendant. Do I leave it behind? Just like my memories, or do I hold on?
That was a question, and I can tell it's bothering him.
I'm sure someone will just come around and steal it anyway. But maybe that's for the best. It can be somebody else's burden. I think I've grown tired of carrying it around for my entire life. However, I also don't want to regret doing this. I could be acting rashly in the face of our final battle. It wouldn't be the first time somebody has done that, you know.
I nod and let him speak.
Look at me. The world is at stake, and I'm worried about this. You know what? With everything you've done for us, I trust you. What do you think I should do, Monarch? Take it or leave it? Besides, I'm a bit biased here in almost every regard. Your head is more clear than mine, so it's worth a shot. What do you think I should do here? What's the right choice?